Tonight, a Port Pirie High School and its successful zero-tolerance approach to schoolyard violence. And a bumpy ride for a great cause, 15,000 kilometres from home.
This is Southern Cross News with Alison Drower.
Hello and thanks for your company tonight. We start in Whyalla, where the big hitters of the mining and resources world have joined politicians for a conference where yet another clean energy project has been announced. This one is a 30-megawatt battery to be built at Dalrymple on the Yorke Peninsula. And John Hunt has been in and out of the conference all day. John, what else is in it for us here in regional South Australia?
Well, Ali, today's focus has been on economic growth with a number of new initiatives announced for the Upper Spencer Gulf. But the big news today has been the announcement of a new clean energy project on the Yorke Peninsula, which will help boost our fragile electricity network. The major players in the mining community all gathered this morning to talk jobs and growth. And with Whyalla coming out of a tough period, there was plenty of goodwill expressed towards the host city.
We're back in the game, girls and boys, we're back in the game. We certainly are at a turning point in our history.
And there is a different air now, just walking through the shopping centre, just talking to some of the population.
And it got better, with the Upper Spencer Gulf now declared an economic participation region. Similar to Northern Adelaide, any government work carried out in the region will have to consider local business, who will get a 20% local weighting on their tender.
So any new government tenders, any new government work, whether it's road, civil, building new schools, upgrading any infrastructure.
But it was energy security that dominated the talk, specifically the announcement of a 30-megawatt battery at Dalrymple on the Yorke Peninsula, in partnership with Chinese company Electronet. While it's only one-third the size of the Tesla battery at Jamestown, the Federal Energy Minister insists it'll help stabilise the state's electricity grid.
And we don't claim to have, the biggest battery. What we do claim is to be putting in place practical, cost-effective, needed policy solutions.
And while the size has sparked some playful comparisons...
Where's your 30-megawatt battery? In your pocket? Is it in your pocket? That small little thing?
No, I just want to see the contract.
Because who's bigger? Who's bigger, mine or yours?
The state government has welcomed the move backhandedly.
I'm glad that the Commonwealth Government is coming into the 21st century. I welcome them here. They'll enjoy it here. I think they like living in the 21st century.
On top of all that, BHP announced late this afternoon a new project that'll help support small businesses in the Upper Spencer Gulf. I'll have all the details on that tomorrow night, but for now, it's back to you.
Thanks, John. Well, John Pirie Secondary School has proudly revealed how it's made classroom life safer for all students. From changes in teaching styles to tougher punishments, the school has seen a dramatic drop in schoolyard incidents.
With harsher consequences and the threat of facing expulsion or even being reported to authorities, violent behaviour at John Pirie Secondary School has dropped dramatically in the past few years.
Through taking a really proactive approach, zero tolerance and working with police, they've seen a 60% drop in violent incidents at this school over the last 5 years.
Staff have been teaching students domestic violence and anger is not acceptable behaviour, using real-life examples to promote the consequences of one moment of losing it could impact their schoolmates and their own futures.
I think we're really pleased with that piece of data and the improvement that shows, but I'm much more proud actually of the academic achievement, of the growth in the learning environment.
Mr Nottage also says students are now reporting feeling more at ease at school, especially during recess and lunch times when there were occasions a fight or conflict could happen.
That they feel the school is a safer place and they've really noticed an improvement in culture. It's one of the first things that they talk about in our school.
John Gardiner supports the approach John Pirie Secondary School has taken, saying zero tolerance towards violent behaviour should be adopted by schools right across South Australia.
It's got a tremendous improvement in outcomes in learning and in the safety of the school.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Meantime, Port Lincoln High School is assessing the damage to its sports oval after a man was caught doing donuts on Saturday night. Damage to the grass oval is expected to take a few months to regrow, and it's alleged the 19-year-old man was seen driving recklessly at around 10 p.m. on Saturday. Police have now charged him and he will face court late next month. Well, last week, Port Lincoln was rolling out the red carpet for the visit by Croatia's president. Tomorrow, it's Port Augusta's turn to welcome another VIP, Australia's Governor-General Sir Peter Cosgrove. Amelia Simpson reports.
Hosting a head of the state is no minor event, and tomorrow the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove will arrive in town, His Excellency's first visit to Port Augusta while in office.
But to get the Governor-General, the Vice-Regal of the country, to actually fly into town and actually want to come and have a good look around and have a look at regional South Australia and the Upper Spencer Gulf. It really is quite humbling and exciting that we get to host the head of the country.
On a whirlwind tour and with a particular interest in Indigenous support, education and community service sectors, Sir Peter Cosgrove and Lady Cosgrove will visit the Davenport Aboriginal Community and Wadlata Outback Centre.
It's good timing. I understand also on the back of the conference here in Whyalla, the Global Maintenance Conference, there's some good mining announcements to be made as well. So it's all good timing and it's all good positive spirit.
His visit is timed to the second.
We need to know every minute as to which side of the car the Governor-General is getting in and out of, and there's a lot of security, as you can imagine, that goes into this because, as I mentioned before, that the Governor-General is the head of the state. So.
Tomorrow, the Governor-General and Lady Cosgrove will be making their way here to the iconic Arid Lands Botanic Garden, where they'll be guests of honour at a civic reception. Here, they'll have the chance to chat with some local heroes, including volunteers, those who do community work and those who work in emergency services.
And also for the Governor-General to meet those people and acknowledge and thank the work that they do, the grassroots of the community. I think it's a good opportunity for them to meet the head of the country.
Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
After the break, Port Augusta Council taking a good hard look at how the city's parking is impacting safety for both drivers and pedestrians. That's next on Southern Cross News. Welcome back. Port Augusta Council is ready to ban parking from a problem area of town after complaints the zone is an accident waiting to happen. Council is also keen to hear of any other traffic zones that might be posing a risk.
It's at this spot that parked trucks and large caravans often force road users to make a blind turn into traffic. Port Augusta City Council's Infrastructure Director Brenton Dorr says council believes the only solution to improve safety is to ban parking altogether from this strip.
We had a request from a community group that they thought it was a risk to both pedestrians and people using the car park adjacent to Flinders Terrace here.
While the parking strip gives drivers easy access to the shops across the road, council is putting everyone's safety first.
Yeah, it's an issue. We do get a lot of caravans and small trucks parking here, so it's primarily those vehicles that are blocking the view of the traffic coming outside the car park.
Mr Dawes says he understands some people won't be happy to have to find a park elsewhere.
Priority is always given to safety, so that'll always be our first option when we look at what the proposed treatments will be, not on how much it may inconvenience drivers that may have to use different parks or use different areas.
Council will also take a wider look at other road hazards around town, including the spot where motorists are turning off the main highway and failing to give way. Again, council is keen to hear if locals know of any other high-risk spots. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Police have relaunched an operation targeting the theft of commercial livestock across the state. Operation Poach is already busy looking into reported stock theft amounting to $1 million in South Australia. 15 officers are currently dedicated to the task of catching cattle thieves and other rural crime. Well, a GoFundMe page to raise money to install a new chairlift in Broken Hill's Silver City Cinema is very close to hitting its target. The owners are hoping the community can dig deep to raise just a few more $1,000, as Patrick Reinke reports.
We all love grabbing a large popcorn and drink, going to our local cinema and watching the newest releases. But for some, it's a hard task.
Unfortunately, I didn't realise that there's so many of our locals, younger and older, that can't even manage to get up the stairs.
There is already a ramp to allow wheelchair access into the front part of the cinema. But last month, a fundraising campaign began to raise money for the chairlift, so the elderly and disabled people can access the top part of the cinema. A GoFundMe page was set up, and the Broken Hill community answered the call.
I'm just so ecstatic of how Broken Hill community, from the little people to the big people, have come together and come and help the elderly and disabled people.
Around $20,000 has been raised in just 1 month. Everyone has pitched in, from locals popping in with a few notes, to local businesses donating hundreds, to an art auction raising thousands.
It all adds up. It doesn't matter how big or small, it all adds up, and we just appreciate it from the Broken Hill community.
Johnny Wren says the project will definitely be going ahead, with the target of $25,000 just within reach.
Our cinema here in Broken Hill is going to last for as long as Broken Hill is here, and that could be for another 100 years. And I say that from the bottom of my heart.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Port Lincoln has been the latest pit stop for a rather unusual cancer research fundraiser. George Baldwin has driven his beloved Tail End Charlie tractor into town as part of a 15,000-kilometre journey, with Perth his final destination.
It's not hard to miss a big, bright orange tractor making its way into Port Lincoln on a slow but steady journey around Australia.
Travelling with a group of people that we're bonded for life.
The tractor is a Tail End Charlie replica of an original 1957 rally winner, and George is loving every moment of his reenactment tour, all in the name of raising awareness about cancer research.
What's the story? And we say, we collect the money for breast cancer and prostate cancer, and out comes a $20 note or $50 note. We've seen many $50 notes going out in.
George is no stranger to cancer himself, having been diagnosed with prostate cancer 12 years ago, his own battle prompting him to warn others to get themselves checked.
Early detection is the answer. We've always found that out, and every family's been affected by cancer.
And showing their support, students from St Joseph's handed over $220 through school sausage sizzles. George is now back in the saddle and working at his next stop on a trip back across the Nullarbor.
Tractor's got to get back to Perth, but I come from Smoky Bay, so I'm going to cheat and jump out there.
The 15,000-kilometre journey has raised nearly $14,000 for charities and plans to be back in WA in a couple of weeks' time. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, residents around Port Augusta and Cultana are expected to hear some noise and see a little bit of smoke from next Monday. It's all part of a training exercise by Army cadets who have travelled from the Duntroon Royal Military College in Canberra to engage in exercises that will involve battle noise simulation and also blank firing. 200 cadets are involved in the exercises as part of their Army officer training. Local residents might notice a little more noise over a 24-hour period and also see some more military traffic on surrounding roads between now and the middle of September. When we return after the break, we'll check your weekly Fuel Watch and also igniting Kimber with some fabulous artwork. Time to see where your petrol prices are sitting this week. Let's go to Pat Reinke and Fuel Watch.
Well, there's no sugarcoating it. It hasn't been a good week for our petrol prices. It's left a lot of motorists fairly unimpressed, so let's see exactly what you're paying at the moment. Starting with unleaded, and Port Lincoln is the first to see a spike. Their price is back up to $1.24. Whyalla is the only Spencer Gulf township to hold steady, the price still on $1.25. Port Augusta's average has finally seen movement after weeks and weeks of breaking even. Unfortunately, it's a rise and now puts the price at $1.26. Port Pirie is the cheapest in the Gulf at $1.20, but it's been a dismal week for Kadina. Their average is up by almost 6 cents from last week and now sits on $1.24. Broken Hill continues its run of low figures, while Adelaide has seen its price climb by 7 cents. To diesel now, and Port Lincoln has jumped to $1.22, while Port Augusta has risen to $1.27. Whyalla is breaking even, and Port Pirie has barely moved also. Again, Kadina is the worst performer of the week, the town seeing a spike of almost 7 cents. It's even Steven for Broken Hill, and it's a 2-cent increase for the city of Churches. Now remember, these prices are the regional averages, and they do not reflect any one particular outlet. If you happen to find a spot that does sell unleaded or diesel for cheaper, let us know on our Facebook page. Ali.
Well, another sensational silo artwork has been unveiled at Kimber off the Eyre Highway, which is a site considered to be the halfway point across Australia for many travellers. Locals are super excited to show off the results of Igniting Kimber, and it all stems from the brushes of a very talented street artist.
Take a first look at the stunning solo masterpiece in Kimber on the Eyre Peninsula. Street artist Cam Scale again taking his unique talent to new heights.
I'd like to think that it's something that that people in Kimber will be proud of.
The entire town, as well as road trippers, have enjoyed watching the artwork take shape over the past few weeks. The mural is a tribute to the town's rich farming life and is said to be a real showstopper for the region.
As opposed to some of the other silos, it's more of a landscape shape, so I thought running with an actual landscape image would be more fitting for this.
Kimber is now the second grain tower in SA to receive the artistic paint job after Canalpin in the state's southeast.
It's been a massive drawcard for tourism to some of the quieter areas of rural Victoria, and I think that's starting to catch on and travel nationwide at this point.
Igniting Kimber is the first step by the local council to put the town on the map. And it's already doing the trick as tourists and grain nomads alike make their point of stopping in the town to get that selfie and then post it out via Facebook and Instagram.
It's just showing pride in community that they want to take time and effort to be proud of their surroundings.
Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, you may have heard some familiar tunes wafting around Port Pirie today as students gather in the one place to sing from the same songbook. A special performance tonight will showcase many crowd choral favourites, as Rachel Nell reports.
One final dress rehearsal before the curtain goes up. Students from 8 schools in the Mid-North are trying to keep a lid on their pre-show nerves.
I'm feeling quite good about it, a little bit nervous because of all the big roles that I play in it.
Tonight's performance will feature a mini musical with many cultural songs, a talented dance troupe and a musical battle between good and evil.
A pretend sword to fight with each other, and there'll be like cheering on either side, and in the end one of them wins, the other surrenders.
It's always a full house whenever schools across the Mid-North take to the stage, continuing the Northern Festival's fine tradition over many years.
Our first concert in Port Pirie was in 1988, and this is our 30th concert tonight.
Organisers of tonight's performance hoping the audience also brings along its voice and not be shy to jump in for a sing-along.
They love it. They really engage well with this mini musical that we've got, and some of the songs have such a lively beat, and we've got a live band and they get really into it and they're highly energised, and we're all pumped for tonight.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
Looks like a great night. Stay with us. Your 4-day outlooks are next on Southern Cross News. And there is going to be more sunshine to see out the week, much like today's lovely conditions for most of our region. Port Augusta made it to 21 degrees today. Whyalla and Broken Hill weren't too far behind for 19. And Adelaide shook off a few morning showers for 16 degrees. The satellite is still showing some high cloud across the Bight and Gulf as cool onshore winds trigger a few showers in the southeast, but a ridge of high pressure is keeping plenty of blue sky around for the rest of the state. On the water tomorrow, rather pleasant conditions, southwesterly winds at 10 knots and seas up to a metre. Sunrise will be at 10 to 7 and sunset at 5 to 6. Our Thursday will be very much like we had today, 16 and fine for Port Pirie, Port Lincoln and Broken Hill, sunny and 15 in Kadina and showers clearing in Adelaide by the afternoon. To the run into the weekend, and the next 4 days for Port Lincoln are going to be mostly fine, maybe a shower on Friday. Cleve will also lose the cloud by the weekend for 15 or 16, and Woodner is going to be a touch milder for 18. Whyalla for the rest of the week will also enjoy some beautiful days, but chilly nights without a lot of that cloud cover. Port Augusta will sit around 19 or 20, and Kadina will round out that full board of sunny icons for just a little cooler for you. And tomorrow in Port Pirie, you'll have a sunny Thursday, setting the tone for your weekend. Clare will also have fine skies and just a cooler Saturday and 13 degrees there. And Broken Hill on track to complete the finer mild theme for this evening with 2 sunny 15-degree days for your weekend. Well, that wraps things up for your Southern Cross News for another night. You can catch up on any of tonight's stories or past bulletins by checking out our YouTube channel. And of course, there's always Facebook and Twitter for breaking news, and always happy to get an email as well. So from everyone here at Southern Cross Television, have a great night, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.